the real spiel. Shiloh, stand up, rest in peace to the great James Earl Jones, the voice that spoke to a generation, 93 years old. James Earl Jones could have lived for 200 more years if it was up to me, because the profoundness of the voice, of the man, of the mind, rest in peace to James Earl Jones. What a legacy. May we continue in the greatness of men like him. Tonight is the night that you have all been waiting for. Let's get ready to rumble. In the blue corner, the vice president, the pride of Jamaica and India, the woman with the wallop in her right hand, the attorney general, the senator, the vice president of these United States, and the first woman, black woman, woman of any color, nationality, ethnicity, gender, or creed to hold that office, Kamala 46 in the making, Harris. And in the red corner, the punch him in the himself, hey, the MAGA billionaire, the hater of all things that don't like him, the Donald, the apprentice himself, Trump, 45. Not Colt 45, because that actually tastes good. Donald Trump, 45 versus the soon-to-be 46. Listen, this debate will go down in infamy. Apparently, Donald does not prepare for debates. That's right. He doesn't call them debate preps. Apparently, he calls them policy preps. Well, that's great. That's fantastic, though. Kamala has been shut in a hotel for 5 days, having algorithms ask her questions. She's playing chess against macro computers, and she has the wisest of the wise sitting down, whispering into her ears. Kamala's ready. She's primed and ready, kung fu kicking. Oh my goodness. She said her focus is going to be on engaging what she calls it, the thin slice of undecided voters. Apparently this election rather, it's going to be decided by the undecided. And I'm here to watch it all. To observe it all, to see what's going down. And this is an opportunity, and this is where I always check black people. I always check y'all. Well, I'm not voting for Kamala. I'm not. Trump's gonna get my vote. Did you watch the debates? I didn't have time to watch that. That's what y'all gonna say. Well, I didn't have time to watch those debates. I had things to do. But I'm not voting for Kamala. A couple brothers, I don't know if it was brothers or sister, they came on and said, after the live yesterday, said, "You're not going to get black men to vote for Kamala Harris." That statement confused me. And if that is the sentiment of black men in America, some, not all, some, that statement confuses me. I don't know if I can dissect it. I would love to. It would be so subjective. I would manipulate it for my benefit. But again, I've turned a new leaf where I'm trying to be more inclusive and not be the kind of so-called leader that tears us down. So, all I said, and I will say it again, is I hope that is not true of black men in America. I hope that black men in America will wake up to the reality that in this presidential election, they cannot vote for Donald Trump. Will you guys wake up to that reality? I don't know. I really don't know. I just know that tonight's going to be very interesting. That debate's going to be, I predict, I didn't say prophesy, I said predict, that it's going to be the most viewed debate in the history of television debates. Only one is coming. There's no debate going to be more viewed in American history than this debate. And I think it's going to be viewed worldwide. Apparently they have said that Donald has been avoiding this debate for a while. Kamala has asked him to debate. And we're going to see. We're going to see how Donald holds his own. We're going to see. To say that Donald Trump does not have the capacity to pull a crowd and to bring across his talking points is just to not have watched Donald Trump. I mean, Donald Trump is a professional at talking. He's always been good at talking. He's good on Larry King when he was young. He's always been good at talking. So to say that he has no capacity to carry himself against Kamala would just be I'd be misspoken. Now, are you gonna like what comes out of his mouth? That's what I. It's not whether or not Donald Trump has it. He's not Herschel Walker. Poor Herschel. But you're not gonna like what comes out of his mouth 95 plus 7% of the time. That's 102 for those who missed that. It's not gonna be. You're not gonna like what comes out of that guy's mouth. It's just gonna be crazy. So I can't wait to see that circus, baby. I cannot wait to see what Donald has to say tonight. And it's very interesting. All the people that have endorsed Kamala, and we still have these people sitting on the fringe, and I'm talking specifically to the black community. You guys are sitting on the fringe in America, black community in America, right? And not being able to make a decision. For example, Dick Cheney has decided to endorse Kamala Harris. And for those who don't know, Mike Pence is voting for Kamala. Come on. For those who don't know who Mike Pence is, that's Donald Trump's former vice president. Every single general is voting for Kamala. His former chiefs of staff are voting for Kamala. So I don't know what needs to fall on your heads. I don't know what needs to fall on your heads when you have the executive branch, the military branch, okay? When you have high levels, people who are in high levels in government are telling you, I'm absolutely. Sound like Herschel Walker there. I absolutely am not voting for Donald Trump. No way in hell. When you have Republicans taking out ads, calling it Republicans for Trump. Sorry, Republicans for Kamala, excuse me. Republicans for Kamala are taking out ads for her, saying, no, can't vote for that guy. But brothers in the community are talking about, I can't vote for Kamala. Y'all confuse me. Confuse me. You guys are just smarter than I am. That's all. I don't see it. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm just a dumb old country boy, you know. And you're gonna say, most of y'all gonna say, well, you're in Canada. What do you got to do with the American election? You're a Canadian, right? That's what you're gonna say. Most of y'all say that. You're in Canada. Why don't you worry about your own country? Why don't you get a country? Because that's not your country. That's right. That's the place that held you as property and then decided to release you and you didn't leave. So let's not pretend that that's your country. Let's not pretend that you picked up and made a decision to be there and said, oh, let's move the kids over across the seas and spend time out here in Mississippi. No, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. Most of y'all don't have a passport. But I said I'm not going to say anything disparaging. I'm not going to say anything disparaging. Because we are one people, and there is a dangerous sentiment in the tribe. When the tribe cannot look as a group and point and say that right there is our enemy. When a portion of the tribe is saying those are friends, and a portion of the tribe is saying those are enemies. And when the horn blows to go to war, half of you won't pick up a spear, won't pick up a knife, won't pick up a bow and arrow, won't pick up a musket and say, let's go and fight the enemy. You say, those aren't our enemies, those are our friends. And it just has to be understood that some slaves will never be free. Never. They'll never be free. And that's okay, because those are the ramifications of colonization. You know what? I want to do a story one day, and this is what I want to call it. I refuse to go. And this is what the story is. Check it out. So it's taking back to ancient Egypt, and it's from the perspective of a well-treated slave. And this slave was a Hebrew slave, but she was well-treated. I want to give it a little biblical context. So the midwives, apparently the Bible says God blessed the midwives, even though Pharaoh told them, you need to kill all them Hebrew baby boys. But the midwives wouldn't do it. And the Bible says God blessed them. And so midwives apparently were treated very good. They were in the courts of the brides of the pharaohs and the daughters of the pharaohs, and they were useful. They were doctors per se. They were midwives. So now imagine when Moses comes and Moses does his thing and the Passover takes place, and they still say, I don't want to go. I want to stay here. I don't want to go with Moses. I want to stay here. And there's some people like that. I'm going to do a movie like that one day. I don't want to go. Yeah. Harriet Tubman said it like this. When they said, Harriet, you freed so many slaves. She said, I would have freed so many more if they only knew they were slaves. Some people will never be free. You can open that prison door wide. You can tell them, listen, there's a helicopter waiting for you right out there. You just got to get in it. You could have given them helicopter lessons. They can know everything about a helicopter. There could be gold in the back of it. Their family sitting on the inside of it saying, come on, jump in the helicopter. They're saying, no. I'm going to stay right here. It's safe here. Some people do not feel comfortable unless an old white man is sitting in the Oval Office. They don't care what that old white man thinks. They don't care what that old white man does. But they're just not comfortable unless an old white man sitting in the Oval Office. And they'll find a way to say, there's nothing wrong with Master Jim. Master Donald's a good old master. Never done nothing bad to me. Master Donald the economy was running fantastic. Negro, the economy was running fantastic when Master Donald was in place. Oh boy. Well, you got folks like that. And tonight, let's see if Kamala's able to carry herself and to endear us to herself. Will Kamala be the president that the black community has been waiting for? That is yet to be seen. That is yet to be determined. Right? Let's jump to the negative side. Let's say she's absolutely not. Let's say she underperforms. She underperforms in providing any type of stabilizing advantage for the black community. Let's say she does. In her entire, presidency. What do you think Donald Trump's going to do for you? What do you think Donald's going to do for you? What do you think Donald Trump is going to do for the black community? He said he's already done it. He said he's already been the best president that y'all ever had. What else can he do? He says he has been the best president you've ever had since Abraham Lincoln. In his mind, the bill's been paid. You don't owe y'all nothing. It's going to be scary, bro. It's going to be a scary world with Donald Trump back sitting in that White House. America's going to be closed for business if Donald Trump's sitting in that White House. So we'll see. When you impeach a guy, let me say this. Anybody's like this. Let's say you have a guy and he's been charged multiple times. He shot people dead on Main Street at noon with a videotape of himself. Shot him dead multiple times. Every time that brother goes to court, he gets convicted and let go. Convicted, but suspended sentence. You can go. Wow, really? Yeah, you can go. Does it again. Suspended sentence. You can go. Imagine being convicted of a crime 45 times. You can still be the president of the United States. People still love you. Millions of people. They still send you money. Imagine you can say anything you want and your supporters don't care, don't do anything about it. I'll bomb the crap out of them. They're very terrible people. They're great people on both sides. Oh my goodness. You can say anything you want. And imagine now you're a billionaire. And imagine now you're white. And imagine now you come from a generation that your dad was part of the Ku Klux Klan. And imagine now you're 78 years old and you've been doing that your whole life. And imagine you're a former president. And imagine you have all that power. And then after doing all that mess, they give you all that power back. Do you have a sense of God complex, or do you have this heightened sense of moral responsibility and gratitude for the place that they have put you? You know the answer. You're a dangerous dude. When anything that you've ever done in your life, you've never had the consequences. You never had to go to war because you had doctor's notes that your feet were bad. You got enrolled in university, and you never had to actually do anything for yourself. You're an entitled little boy. You're an entitled middle-aged man, and now you're an entitled old despotic man who was the president, the king of the world. That's who you used to be. When you tweeted your executive orders before you even signed them, and you didn't need a law to pass anything. Executive order! Executive order. Executive order. I will be a dictator on the first day. Democracy is fine, but I'll be a dictator only on the first day, where I will declare that I am the king. Oh my goodness. Donald J. Trump in the red corner. Let's get ready to rumble. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you're going to watch the debates tonight. I'm going to watch it. I want to see it for myself. I want to experience it for myself. I know some of you that's not your inclination. But historically, There are three sectors of the man that must go together. The priest, the prophet, and the politician. The priest, the prophet, and the politician. The priest teaches their family how to serve God. The prophet hears from God, and the politician speaks to the masses. If your life as a man does not have that trifecta in it, something's missing. The priest, the prophet, and the politician. I think I'm gonna preach that message. The priest, the prophet, and the politician. Yeah, you need all those three. David was all three. He was the priest, the prophet, and the politician. He was a king. He was a prophet. And at one time, he acted as the priest, eating the showbread, in fact. Yeah, wearing the ephod in zigzag. The priest, the prophet, and the politician. Those are the three dynamics of a man. You gotta have them all, baby. Something will be missing. Any woman in your life is gonna, one day, she'll be looking for the priest in you. She also hopes there's a visionary, a prophet in you that can lead. That's right. And the last, but not least, is the politician. It's the man that can actually go out there and build a world that his family can live in. And if you don't have any of those, or a few of those, a couple of those ain't working for you, don't worry. Just polish them up. Stay right here. Hey, I'll put some spit shine on your life, because you can't go through life without those three aspects of your manhood functioning. The Bible says that the fool has said in his heart that there is no God. Don't run around being foolish and saying I don't need no priesthood. No. And don't become a priest unto yourself. You can't be God and priest. Some of y'all would rather be God than be priest. That job has been taken from everlasting. You've got to figure out how to deal with him. See, Donald is a different cat. Donald thinks he's God. He doesn't think he's a politician. He thinks he's God. He thinks anything that comes out of his mouth is divine. Kamala is a politician. She is a politician. I think she has to work on the prophet and the priest sides of her situation. Maybe her Vice President Waltz can bring some of those other aspects to the table. And if I were to be analytical and honest, you have a black woman who is a black woman. She's clearly a black woman. And the major men around her, her husband, her vice president, are old white men. And you cannot identify where she adds value to the black community in respect to its counsel, in respect to leaders in that community, in respect to their counsel. When you can't see that in her presidency, in her leadership group, yeah, you're going to say, well, wait a minute now. Like, I see you, Kamala, but I don't see me in Kamala. And I think maybe, like I said, I'm trying to stay positive, but I think maybe that's what some of the educated brothers are seeing. Maybe to give you the benefit of the doubt, they're saying that, you know what, she's an accomplished woman on her own, but as a man, as a black man in America, why should I follow her? Right. So I understand that argument, but that argument falls to pieces when you tell me that you're going to vote for Donald Trump. It falls to pieces because there's nothing over there for you either. There's nothing over there for you but a whip and some chains and somebody saying, "Say your name, Toby." Toby, say your name. Kunta Kinte can't live in Donald Trump's America. Kunta Kinte cannot live in Donald Trump's America. And some of you need to realize Kunta Kinte needs to come back. Right? And is Kamala gonna bring Kunta Kinte back for you? No. But she's gonna get rid of that old slave master. She's gonna get rid of him. She's gonna get rid of Uncle Don. Because we don't want to go to Uncle Don's cabin no more. So I understand that you're trying to find your blackness, your identity in Kamala, the black men who do not want to vote for Kamala. But a lot of black men have started. In fact, that was the very first group. Roland Martin spoke about them. Black Men for Kamala. They had a massive, I think it was a massive Zoom call. They raised money for her. So I don't think that black men not supporting Kamala Harris is the majority. But Kamala, again, is reaching out to the undecided voter. That's a thin slice. And that's who I'm talking to today, too. Because I'm talking to men who, you got to realize, as the prophet, as the priest, and as the politician of your house, you have to make a wise decision for the tribe. And Donald is not good for the tribe. He's an enemy. He's an enemy to his own people. He will not be a friend to you. And I mean, goodness gracious, if Donald Trump was a Marvel villain, we'd all know he's a villain. We'd all know he's a villain. Shoot, he's Lex Luthor. That's right. He's Lex Luthor. Okay, guy's a villain. And if Donald Trump's not a villain in your story, I don't know what you're reading. I don't know what you think you're reading. It's a cautionary tale when you decide to make Donald Trump the hero in your story, my friends. It's a very cautionary tale. I don't want to repeat the things I said yesterday, but I will say one thing. Be on the right side of history. And the right side of history is saying no to Donald Trump. In principle, in practice, in prophetic understanding. Say no to a man who has said no to you. Why am I so passionate about this in Canada? Because his policies will affect my life, will affect the economy. His practices will affect my capacity to feel safe in the United States of America, a place that's already the most unsafe place for black men in the world, black people in the world. It's the most unsafe country for black people in the world historically. Absolutely. When you showed up in America, in fact, people that were most of the people who were destined for America didn't make it. That's right. They died on the way. So it's not a very safe place for us now. And it wasn't very safe under Donald Trump. Crime was way up, as they say. Crime was up! Crime was up. Of course crime was up. People felt they could do anything they wanted. He could. He wasn't trying to govern. So, let that be the real spiel of the day. Say no to Donald. Rest in peace to James Earl Jones, the great James Earl Jones. Post-mortem, somebody should make him a duke or something. Like, somebody should do something with that, brother. Somebody should do something. 93 years old. And just to give us some perspective before I go, I like to make a mention. Two things. I have a 93, is he 90? I think he's older than 93. I think he's 96-year-old Bishop L.A. Guthrie of the Brimley Pentecostal Church here in Toronto. Bishop L.A. Guthrie, 96 years old, preaching, going strong. Just so you understand, 93 is not a death sentence. Bishop L.A. Guthrie is 96 years old, going strong. My grandmother is 101 years old, living in Trinidad by herself. Shoot, I think Granny's 102 this year. 103. Yeah, 103 years old. My grandmother, still alive. My father's side. Outlived her son. 103 years old. Lives by herself. Yeah. Bishop L.A. Guthrie, Brimley Pentecostal Church. Okay, my good friend. He's the spiritual daddy of many. Still going strong. Don't play around with that Holy Ghost. And tonight, I have a treat for you. I held it to the end. Bishop Dr. David Israel, the rabbi of language, is going to be, I'm going to be having an interview with him at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Dr. David Israel and myself will be here 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For those in Jerusalem, that's midnight. Stay up for that. But 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, me and Dr. David Israel are going to be having a conversation. He's coming from Israel. I'm coming from Toronto, Canada. And we're going to be having a conversation about the value of Hebrew, the mystery of the Hebrew language, actual Hebrew, not the Yiddish derivative of Hebrew, but Hebrew from an Afro-Semitic perspective. I've been taking lessons, and some others have been taking lessons who affiliate to myself, and been offering these lessons. So I need to show you that we're building this language school. We want you to come back and have conversation about learning ancient Semitic languages. It is the language of God. We're going to talk about that today. It is the language that God gave men. It's the language that God communicated in. Come on now. So we need to discuss that tonight. Myself and Dr. David Israel. I'll be interviewing him tonight. He's a plethora of information, of wisdom, a brilliant man from the coast of Chatham all the way to Israel. Been in Israel since he's been a little boy, fluent and knowledgeable in Hebrew, in Aramaic, modern Hebrew, and biblical Hebrew. It's going to be a fantastic interview for those who have never had a real discussion or understanding about many things. And I can now identify letters, I can identify words. I'm doing my best to dive into it with passion and love for the language. So please come through tonight at 5 p.m. I'm not going to do a lot on my drive home. I'm going to be coming on at 5 p.m. with Dr. David Israel, the Hebrew scholar, the rabbi of language. God bless you. Thank you very much for coming on here. Dr. David Israel is going to be from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. I'm going to do it for an hour, and then we'll pick up the debates whenever the debates start. I don't know when they start, but I'll figure it out. Okay? This is Del K. Brereton, and this is The Real Spiel. Shiloh Institute. Stand up.